of a sudden the world becomes so complicated.
Sounds exactly like something a gaslighting coward would say.
Suddenly, out comes a philosophy of language conversation. Suddenly, the legitimate disagreement has faded away, and Max is to understand the complexity. Are you serious? It actually reminded me of how Vosh often goes to say that words don't mean anything, language is complicated route of when not knowing what to say. Dude, I tried so many times yesterday to bro, I'm writing down exactly what you're saying. I'm trying to respond to exactly, and I can't talk at all, and I'm getting interrupted so many times. It's unbelievable. Holy shit. It just shows how strong and consistent Max was being. What got me was when Destiny was being adamant about not labeling Nick a Nazi. Then when Max brings up that he called him a Nazi on Twitter, it's like an immediate goalpost shifting. I like Destiny a lot. I respect him a lot. But him not being able to concede when he's clearly in the wrong is brutal to watch. I used to think it was one of his strengths. And I can't even ban these people now because MrGirl will throw a fit over it. Dude, I'm not being able to ban. I'm trying so hard. Yeah, I don't know. It almost feels like the Sam Cedar convo where I'm trying to write things down. I'm trying to respond point by point. I'm trying to be clear and concise to everything we're going. I'm actually you're a gaslighter. You're gaslighting me, and you are being abusive, and you're a gaslighter, and you're cowardly, and you're and I'm like, bro, I'm trying so hard. Are you serious? It's unreal. I don't know if I need to just start I think in the combos, I'm not going to let him interrupt as much. When I talk to him in the future, I think I'm just going to be like, hey, stop. I'm going to start shouting over him because the amount of being talked over. And then also I think I'm going to start, this might be a new rule that I have in general. I think I'm going to establish this for convos. As soon as somebody drops a bad faith or dishonest or gaslighting or whatever accusation, they either have to walk it back immediately or I'm just going to cut the convo off. Because for the last half of the convo, he's literally accusing me of lying the entire time. And people are still saying yeah, Max is being super consistent here. What? Are you serious? He's accusing me of lying. I can't say anything at this point. Jesus. The philosophy of language meme is funny because Destiny acts like he's reached an unprecedented understanding, when the reality is that he's gotten worse at language games, and it is causing confusion among his audience and the people he talks to. My favorite thing about that last convo was there were 7 different definitions of Nazi that were floated around, and both ABBA and GD had no fucking idea what Nazi technically even meant, and they said that their audiences wouldn't know what Nazi meant. And then Max went on to say, well, actually, if you would ask a normal person in the street, you guys are online too much. If you ask a normal person, what does communist or Nazi mean? They'd be able to tell you.
As a normie, okay, because someone who's not part of this debatosphere or whatever you guys got going on.
No.
I'd rather
no. The reason you don't know what a Nazi is because you are a terminally online debate bro. That's why you don't know what a Nazi is. A normal person, if you go up to them on the street and you say that guy's a Nazi, they don't say, oh, this word is so overused. Oh my God, everybody says everybody's a Nazi. They know what it means, especially a older person.
I would bet $100,000. I would bet $100,000. I would go up to 10 normies on the street, ask them what a Nazi is, and each of them would give me mostly incoherent definitions of it. I would bet. I will put my life savings on that. The fact that you sat there and said, "Was that?"
Yeah, that's obviously true. If you ask somebody what a Nazi is, they're going to say somebody that doesn't like Jewish people. That's going to be or they'll say World War II Germany. That's what they're going to say. They're going to have no idea.
World War II Germany is a fine answer.
Because that doesn't describe Nick Fuentes.
No, it does. I'm saying look at pictures. Oh
my goodness.
I know. I'm so soy, Steven. I'm so overreacting.
Hold on. I'm telling you.
Let me finish.
I just said 4 words, okay? The fact that you would appeal to older people knowing what a Nazi is. We went through a whole era of the Red Scare where my mom and dad think that every fucking Democrat is a communist. Means that obviously older people don't have good grasps of what these terms mean, okay? And before we got into this era of politics, when I was younger,
Democrats are communists is not the same as not knowing what a communist is. If you ask them what a communist is, they're not going to say Hillary Clinton or AOC.
Yeah, they absolutely would.
They're going to say Stalin.
No, they're going to say no.
If you say to somebody on the street, give me your best example. Give me your best example of a Nazi. You think that they're going to say what, Bush?
If you ask somebody what Trump? Is a communist, they're going to say somebody that is for big government spending. That's what they're going to say a communist is. Bro, I grew up in a Republican Party. Every single fucking Republican in the fucking neocon era thought every single Democrat was a fucking communist. What the fuck are you talking about? We literally had a whole Red Scare in this country where every left-leaning person was called a communist. How could you say that? Oh my God. Destiny, the convo was fine. I think stuff went in circles because MrGirl didn't trust you understood him, and the tone of your high effort responses could... No, you are wrong. The convo was not fine. The convo was a dumpster fire, and it was 100% because of Max's unwillingness to engage with what I was saying. You are wrong. I'm not going to both sides of that conversation. I tried really hard to write down every single point. And I told him, I'm going to respond to everything you said. If you want to go point by point, we can, but I need shorter responses. I repeated that like 5 or 10 times. I said, hold on, I need to respond to this. Hold on, I need to respond to this. I would write down 7 things he would say, and he would try to interrupt me at every single point. Every single fucking point. I'd be like, okay, well, here's point 1. No, hold on, let me finish. Okay, so this is my response to point 1. Okay, now here's, hold on, let me finish. Here's my response to point 1. Hold on, let me finish. Like every single time, it was impossible. And then he was accusing me of gaslighting. Bro, anytime somebody says gaslighting, like 10 times in a conversation, are you serious? I'm literally writing down the fucking exact words you were saying. I'm asking you, if you don't like agree with my characterization, then tell me, and we can change it, or we can talk about something different. Like, unfortunately, some of this audience is under the delusion that Destiny's motivation with Nick is some grand calculation of harm reduction versus inroads and reachability to those on the right. He half-heartedly argues this too, but unconvincingly. While he uses legitimate arguments for how to reach people with opposing views, it seems like it's nothing more than a post hoc justification or a positive byproduct of his interactions with Nick. His real motivation is one he's been saying all along, and one he's reinforced ever since he started in politics. He just wants to chat and befriend people he finds interesting. Unchallenging, I would add. Further, while he hasn't said as much lately, he used to frequently emphasize that he's not in politics to advocate any cause, but to explore arguments. Is he going to grow Nick and his platform? Almost certainly. Will he change enough right/grouper mindsets to offset that? Who knows? At the end of the day, you only frustrate yourself if you're expecting Destiny to put general harm reduction concern over his own interests with this. You just have to decide if you can stomach watching him have ice cream with Fuentes every now and then. Things like this makes me think MrGirl is correct with his assessment that Destiny is unintentionally or intentionally providing cover for Nick Fuentes, because either he was being dishonest or too heated in the debate to think about this opinion. I was the one that was too heated? He's calling me a gaslighter like 20 times. I'm sorry. I read like all these threads this morning, so I've already read most of it. Like, Jesus Christ. There's a few people towards the bottom. It's fascinating to me how extremely different these conversations come off to people. I saw that whole exchange is unpacking how complicated the issue is for one person, while the other person wants to simplify it into an insult to justify all the baggage that gets loaded onto it. It must be unimaginably frustrating to have someone scream at you about how not seriously you're taking the conversation, only to have people claim you're obfuscating with debate tactics when you take the conversation serious enough to define your terms properly. This wasn't a casual conversation or the setup of a joke. How the word was being applied had massive implications to the way they continued that conversation, because it meant MrGirl could assume the outcomes and policies Nick wanted instead of dealing with the individual outcomes and policies themselves. Jesus. If you don't think Max didn't understand Destiny's point of view, which you summarized here in the first 5 minutes of the previous conversation, not even this one, then you don't understand anything about how Max operates. Abba and Gideon proved MrGirl right. They showed how the average person would just hand wave away all the crazy shit Fuentes believes in, because there is no way he will ever do what he wants, and there is no way someone would actually be convinced by what he's saying. They would just join the joke and treat it like it was a big meme competition. How do you even walk away with this idea? When I thought the whole thing that Alba and Ginny were saying, oh yeah, when you call someone a Nazi, that doesn't mean anything to me. Like, I just think that they're like a fucking, what do they say? I don't even remember I don't remember what Abba said. Destiny, your opinion on how to go about Nick is correct, but you seem to not be reaching a lot of people with your explanation. What are they missing, you think? I don't know. You can go watch my conversation with Irk yesterday if you want. Even the explaining it makes me sound pretentious, but I don't even like to dive into it. It's just, language is very, very, very complicated, but everybody thinks that language is like very simple. And the problem is that everybody practices language even without understanding it. And so it's very autistic to try to even have a debate. I actually like this. I like this arc because in a way one, I've gathered more information over the past month or two about language in general. And then two, I can go all the way back to Matt Walsh's documentary and I can see how like everything is connected. I'm having a V for Vendetta moment. What is a woman? Well, when people are pushing for like rigid definitions for words that apply in all contexts, that there's some conventional use that applies to all contexts, that's just not how language works. That's just not how we use words ever. And these labels like Nazi or fascist or any of this shit don't escape that. It's the same shit. Or pedophile or groomer or anything else. But then if I say that, I sound like I'm obfuscating, I guess. So. Something I haven't seen pointed out about the MrGirl Fuentes debate. I could be wrong, but my impression of MrGirl is unwilling to actually discuss in a debate what Nick's true beliefs are, and simply throwing out and calling the Nazi optic looks weak and pathetic. I could be wrong, but my impression of MrGirl's... I don't think there's anything soy about calling someone a Nazi if you want to. He wants to use quotes from Nick, probably hilarious jokes, and he interprets his true beliefs. Then he calls him a Nazi without asking any further. Well, Max, if that's your bar for calling someone a Nazi, what's the difference between that and someone calling you a pedophile for saying a 12-year-old is hot? Without asking his credibility and willingness to talk,